All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Tennessee Brando Show. Hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday. Thank you all so much for tuning in and for being here waiting before we even got rolling. I really appreciate all of you. Hope everyone's doing good considering all the crazy things that are going on in this world. And we're going to be talking more about that as the show rolls on. I want to remind everybody today at 1 o'clock p.m., we're going to be dropping a video from Coach D. He's not been on the channel in a while. So we're going to drop one from him, and he is going to be talking about Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and their recent interview where they just put all of the MAGA bros' minds at ease, I guess, after years of screaming about the Epstein files and did he really kill himself and Bill Clinton must have done it and blah, blah, blah. They just came out and said, yeah, we've seen it, and he did it. He killed himself. We got some great answers coming your way, and just wait till you hear. And do you really believe those two guys could hold something back if they had something for real? Do you think that they could? They've never had any respect for the rule of law or the Supreme Court or anything like that. So I'm not going to ramble about that. Coach D will be with us at 1 o'clock today to talk about that. So I'll look forward to hearing that. Coach D is one of my favorites out there. He always has a great spin on things. And in his words, he's one of the best out there, period. So be sure to check that video out that we're going to drop today at 1. The name of this show is titled this for a reason. Does everything have to be politicized? Because that's really how I feel about two different things that are going on right now. And we're going to talk about both of them. I've always said that doing this kind of content is stressful. I mean, and I've talked to other content creators about how they go about decompressing. Aaron Parnas was on the show, and he told me that he goes and plays tennis and spends time with his wife. And I told him that I usually sit around watching Instagram reels of people crashing on skateboards. Or sometimes, I'll sit and listen to Jim Cornette's Drive-Thru, and a wrestling podcast, and just listen to him bitch about modern wrestling, and it cracks me up. So anything to try to, ease the tension these days. But I've always said that I have been someone, I'm not a news journalist. I didn't go to school to be that. I'm not that. I'm not a guy that sits here and breaks down, stats and numbers and things of that nature. That's not me. I'm just a guy who is reacting to what I'm seeing. During the movie Stripes, you had Harold Ramis played the character next to Bill Murray, and he's just sitting there watching Bill Murray. He doesn't even have a whole lot of lines in that movie. He's just sitting there kind of making faces and reacting to Bill Murray. And I've always kind of said, that's me. I'm the guy that's just over here going, what was that? Did you see that? And so I'm reacting to what I'm seeing, and then I'm reacting to other people's reactions. And I've always told people I'm right here in the buckle of the Bible Belt. It's blood red where I'm at. And, I have a completely different way of looking at things than most people in my part of the world do. And so a lot of times when I see something happen and I see people reacting, I will stop to say, hey, have you ever thought about this from a different perspective? What if we looked at this a different way? What if the things we were taught growing up was bullshit? Just what if, So I'm reacting to reactions, and that's kind of what this whole live is going to be about. I'm reacting to the reactions that I've seen from people on both sides of the aisle who have, as always, well, one side always disappoints me, and the other side does too, but not as often, but they did recently, so we're going to talk about that. But first of all, we'll go here. So some tornadoes ripped through Kentucky, and I've heard different numbers, but up to at least 30 have died from the storms that went across Missouri and Kentucky and Virginia. And again, I've heard different numbers, so don't quote me on those. But those storms happened to rip through Laurel County, Kentucky, which is about an hour and a half from where I'm sitting. I grew up over on the Kentucky side. That's where I went to school at, was over on the Kentucky side. And I played a whole lot of music over on the Kentucky side. And so to me, London and Somerset, Kentucky is every bit as home as anything else. I might have grew up in Middlesboro, home of Lee Majors. But I don't think they'll ever put a sign that says home of Tennessee Brando. I doubt that, but we'll see if we ever can turn the state purple at least. But anyway, not getting sidetracked. So it ripped through there. The tornado did. It was an F3. Saw so many friends sharing videos. And I don't think people truly understands the devastation. I have heard there are people in neighboring counties, neighboring cities, who have just found random things like a picture, just like a just like paperwork, like a picture on somebody's wall. That's how far this thing, stretched. People are finding debris literally, from London. For those of you that may not be familiar with the geography, but what I'm trying to say is you got London, Kentucky, but people in like Manchester and Barberville and Corbin have found debris from the storm that ripped through London. So when I saw that, the first thing that hit my mind was, well, we gotta help these people. These are our people. We got to help these people. And so that's what I did. I began sharing links to places where people could donate. I donated. Yesterday, I took a trunk load of supplies up to the Wildcat Harley Davidson in London, Kentucky, which you can too if you're in that area. And they're just letting people drop off their stuff in the front part of the store. And I was glad to see that there was so much there. I was so glad to see that people were bringing stuff in by the truckloads and the carloads. I was glad to see that. And so I began sharing that type of stuff on social media, and I'm going to do that now. And Brian's going to be helping me do this. His internet's lagging a little bit, but there we go. He's putting up some, and I'm going to go ahead and share this one in case he hasn't done again. So here is the link, and I'm going to bring this up on the screen real quick. You can go here, and you can check out the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund. So Governor Andy Beshear has established the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund to assist those impacted by severe weather systems beginning in 2025. All donations to Team Kentucky Storm Relief are tax deductible, and donors will receive a receipt for tax purposes after donating. If you wish to donate to the relief fund, please select an amount and click the donate button below. So how can I mail in a donation? If you would like to mail in a donation, please make your check out to the Kentucky State Treasurer. In the memo line, please note the donation is for Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund. Send the check to Public Protection Cabinet, 500 Murrow Street, 218 NC, Frankfort, Kentucky, 40601. All those area codes are 40 something, something, something. So I got tongue tied because I almost said Middlesborough. But anyway, your tax deductible donation will benefit the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund. Now, folks, Andy Beshear is one of my favorites out there, and I really do believe that he's been a great governor in Kentucky, and I think he's just a really decent human being. And recently, Andy, I saw an interview with him where he was talking about how the standing up for people is always right, and then he went on to talk about how that when you stand for something, you explain why. You tell people why you did. Well, quite simply, I just looked over and I saw people in need. I saw neighbors in need. And so I began sharing links like that and sharing places where people could drop off donations. But then I got met with people who I thought were on our side. I got met by people who suddenly were like, well, that's a red state. They just got what they voted for. First of all, they didn't vote for a tornado. I don't know how you do that. They didn't vote for that at all. Second of all, that's irrelevant at this particular point in time. Their politics go out the door to me when I look over and see a town that, no, I didn't grow up in that particular town, but it felt like it. We were there all the time. That's our people. You look over, you see your people in need, you just go help. And I thought that's what liberals were all about. I thought that's what progressives were about doing. But there was this attitude of, well, I'm already donating. I'm already in a blue state, and so screw them. It's a red state. I have no sympathy. What the fuck is wrong with you, for real? If you're going to sit there and take that approach to this, and you're going to take offense at me sharing links where you can help people, and you call yourself progressive, and then you want to turn around and crap on MAGA and their reaction to Joe Biden, which I'm getting to, but you want to sit and crap on them and their cold-hearted reactions and then take this approach now? Here, I've made the argument before that blue states prop up red states. I've made that argument for you. I've said that so many times in videos. I've said, hey, guys, here around me in the surrounding area, blue states are very important to us. When California was on fire, I was sharing things as to where you could help out in California. I ain't even from there. They're a blue state. I could have easily said, oh, hell, they're a blue state. They got it made. We're Americans. And I said that while I was in California speaking in LA. I said, I know I'm from a red state, but we're in a situation right now where that if we don't become the United States, we're going to cease to exist, just plain and simple. We're going to have to come together. And we're not always going to agree on every single thing. That's not who we are. Our side is not a side that agrees with one man or one woman or one idea. We have a broad spectrum of ideas. And that's why I like this side. That's why I prefer to be over here. But at the same time, there has to come a point where we go, you know what? We're Americans too. And we're all in this together too. And we want what's best for people. And so when it comes time to help people, I'm going to help people, and I'm going to share links where other people can help people. And if anyone has a problem with that, you can fuck right off. And I mean that sincerely, because it's one of those things that just rubbed me the wrong way, that people would take that kind of approach, especially a group of people who just a few months ago, when Jimmy Carter passed, was talking about what a great humanitarian Jimmy Carter was. Jimmy Carter was. And what would Jimmy Carter be doing right now? Do you think Jimmy Carter would be like, well, they're a red state, that's what they voted for, screw them? Do you think Jimmy Carter would take that approach? I mean, since he's the guy that so many on our side points to, and I do too, on my new album, we'll be talking about here in a little bit, I've got a song on it called Jimmy Carter Christian, and I'm asking the question, are you one of those kind of Christians? Are you the kind like Jimmy Carter that gets out and helps people and actually does some good in the world, or are you a judgmental asshole? So if Jimmy Carter's your hero, and that's the guy that you say, well, we should all be more like him, then when a tornado, a hurricane, a natural disaster hits any state, the color of the state should go out the window, and it should be, how can we help people? Now, we can get in the weeds all day long, and we can debate the political side of it. But first and foremost, I just feel that the thing to do is to help people. We can sit back and say, well, you know, where's Trump? He ain't said a word about it. I'm going to be talking about that in the video. It's been a complete media blackout. I've not heard a word about it. I had to go there and see it firsthand, and I've seen friends sharing it on Facebook. But I've heard Andy Bashir talking about it. But other than that, I've not heard the Trump administration say one word about it. I've not really heard the media cover it at all. It's as though I've always felt like that our part of the world is a forgotten part of the world. It always feels to me like that they only use us when they need us. And so, you know, I have a lot of mixed feelings about that. We could talk about that. We could talk about Doge and the cuts that they made, and how that, you know, everything got thrown off the rails. You know, they did come out and say they were fully staffed, but I would make the argument that they were scrambling to be staffed, so they weren't at 100%. We can make those arguments all day long, folks. We can always do that. But I just look over, when I see people in need, I'm going to go help, and I'm not going to ask questions, because in that particular moment, they're trying to pick up the pieces. And I don't know, for those of you that live in other parts of the world, if you've ever seen what a tornado can really do, but just picture if you could just pick up your house like this and just drop it in a blender. That's what it looks like when it's over. It's as though that people's homes and their entire life's work just got dropped into a blender. And so, you know, when I see devastation like that, it's about, hey, let's help people. And you know, we can sort the politics out and we can point fingers all day. But Kentucky, and I want to point this out too, well, yeah, they are a red state. Yeah, there's a lot of people in Kentucky been voting against their own interests my whole life, and it's drove me nuts. You know, how the hell Mitch McConnell is still there? It's just like, God, what are you doing? But they have a Democratic governor. And that Democratic governor, Andy Bashir, won during COVID and during the Trump years. That's when he won. And he won re-election in Blood Red, Kentucky during the Trump years, the first Trump term, and during COVID. That's when Andy Bashir shined. And Andy Bashir has managed to pass legislation in favor of the LGBTQ community, and he has been able to veto and oppose some of the most extreme things that have come to his desk. And when he's asked about that, he says, because my faith teaches me that I'm supposed to stand up for all Kentuckians. I'm supposed to stand up for everybody, and that's what I do. I would argue this. People says, well, why did they vote for Andy Bashir, but, you know, and then turn around and vote for Trump? Sorry, I'm still trying to get woke up. I really believe it's because Andy talks to him. I really believe it's just because Andy goes out there and he talks to him and he tells them why. And I saw so many videos of him walking up to people, shaking their hand, giving them a hug, listening to them. And I never one time heard Andy Bashir say, did you vote for me? Are you one of those MAGA Republicans that have been, you know, saying some nasty things about me and my party? He didn't do that. He went there, he listened to them, he heard them out. They'll never forget that. One thing I hear in Kentucky more than anything else is, I really don't like that Andy's a Democrat, but he's a good guy. Or he may be a Democrat, but he's a good dude. He came, he talked to us, and he helped us. I think that's a lesson that can be learned across the entire country. if you talk to people, you help people, and you explain why you're doing what you're doing, you'll go a long way. Now, Donald Trump just gives simple, stupid answers. And I could argue all day long that his answers are stupid and hollow and empty. But he just gives these real simple, straightforward answers, just, and it resonates with people. It's unfortunate that it does. But in the same state where his rhetoric resonated, Andy also resonates. And I think that's something that people need to take a deeper look at. A lot of times, Democrats will head towards swing states. You don't see a Democrat very often on the main stage. You don't see them standing in Southeast Kentucky. But I think they should. I think they should be standing there. Because you're never going to change the narrative of who you are if you're always just going all the way around it. You got to get there and say, hi, I'm Kamala Harris. Hi, I'm Tim Walz. Hi, I'm Gavin Newsom. Hi, I'm whoever's coming down the pike. Hi, I'm here, and I'm here to listen to you. Back in 2018, there was a coal mine in the Black Jewel Coal Company up in Kentucky, near Harlan, Cumberland area. The coal company just didn't pay the workers. So the workers was like, well, then you're not taking the coal out of here. And they literally blocked the train track and wouldn't let the coal leave. It became a big protest. I wrote a song about it called Black Jewel, White Lies. And that song kind of went viral in this part of the world. And I got invited to go up there and play on that picket line. So I go up there and I play my song on the picket line, and I'm talking to coal miners in bloody Harlan. And for those of you that don't know what bloody Harlan is, just Google it and fall down into a well of watching that and studying that. Again, I think it could go a long way to understand our people. I'm standing there talking to coal miners in bloody Harlan, and they said, we've been trying to get the governor, it was Bevin at the time, we've been trying to get him on the phone. He ain't said shit. They couldn't get Trump. Trump ain't said nothing. Trump's not said a word about this. We voted for him, but we ain't had Trump say nothing. They couldn't get anybody on the phone. And then during this, they said, but we talked to that Andrew Yang guy. He came and talked to us, and Bernie Sanders, he didn't come, but he sent some pizzas. I never will forget what someone said. He goes, I don't really care for old Bernie, but at least he did that. They won't forget that. Anytime that guy has seen Bernie Sanders on TV since that moment, he has said, hey, may not like him, but that one time we was on the picket line, his team sent us some pizza anyway. So I really believe that if people would understand that we're all in this together, that when it comes time to help people, help people. My good buddy Mike McGill always says, it doesn't cost anything to be good to people. And we were supposed to be the good guys in this story. So let's all try to remember the bigger picture here and understand that, okay, how many blue states are there? If you add them all up, if you add up the red states versus blue states, you're going to be writing a whole lot of people out of your life if you just base it on the color of the state, because there's a whole bunch of red states out there, but there's a whole lot of good people in those states. And regardless of their politics, when their homes gets destroyed, I want to be there to help out. That's just me. If I'm the bad guy for saying that, then I'll be Scarface for you. I don't care, because I had to talk about that. I had to get that off my chest. Thanks for listening. And now we'll move on to other cold-hearted assholes. And in the words of Texas Paul, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. I drank JFG here in East Tennessee. It's a East Tennessee staple out of Knoxville. We can't live without it, or I can't. But so yeah, my own side disappointed me in a lot of ways, or I should say a lot of people on my side did. And of course, MAGA is always going to be disappointing. I won't spend a whole lot of time harping on this one, but it's been announced now that President Biden has got a aggressive form of prostate cancer. And, I don't care what someone's politics are. I don't care what your opinion is of Joe Biden. Was he, what kind of president was he, or anything like that? I've got that going on, not prostate cancer, but another kind. I've got that going on in my family right now. I know what it's like. I live with it every day. I know what families go through. And I'm sure that all of you at some point have had someone in your life, or it's been you yourself, and we all may face it one day. My heart goes out to him. I think he was a great president. I think he was a very effective president. I think if we still have history books years from now, that I think he'll be recorded fondly. I've not always agreed with him, but that's irrelevant. The man is and his family are suffering. and I wish them nothing but the best. And so I kind of have two angles of thought on this one. I really wasn't impressed with any of the Republicans that sent out their thoughts and prayers. When they sat and mocked him for his dementia, or accused him of dementia is what I should say. When they just sat and mocked dementia, and they mocked him slipping, and they mocked his stutter, they mocked his speech, they mocked him for being there for his son during his son's addiction. You sit and mock a guy like that constantly, and then you want to say, "Oh, our heart, thoughts and prayers." I don't want to be in your thoughts. I don't want you throwing up nothing on my behalf. That's just me. Just forget it. you let us know where you stand. I will probably, anything ever happens to Donald Trump, I'll probably just take a day off social media, and I'm not going to, say anything. It's one of those things where we all know where each other stands, and I didn't take that sincerely from Marjorie Taylor Greene, the woman that walked around harassing a kid that had been, survived a school shooting. I don't care if she's thinking about me or she's praying for me. If there's a God listed, I don't want him listed to her on my behalf. So anyway, that didn't impress me. And then there's the people who are shouting that this is karma, that this is what he gets. And then, of course, I knew the minute I heard the news, I fucking knew it, that there were going to be the people who would start shouting conspiracy theory. How long did they know? And Don Jr. just putting out one tweet after another of how could they have missed this? How did they not know? Why does everything have to be a damn conspiracy theory? And why is it that when there's things, there are things hanging right under these people's nose. Going back to what I said at the start of the video before y'all tuned in, Coach D, I'm going to release a video of Coach D at 1:00 today, Eastern time. He's going to be talking about Dan Bongino and Kash Patel's recent interview. And they sat there, they were asked if Epstein killed himself, and they went, yeah, he did. Oh, he absolutely did. And all the people who have been hanging on to that and asking questions, just stop asking the questions. So there's so many things out there that you could be asking questions about. Why is it that those things will go right over people's head, just like that? But then they will zero in on something like this. And that's all you're going to hear is about Biden and his cancer. How long did they know? And what weren't they telling us? And who should be held liable for this? And who should be, brought on trial for this one? And you got a 34-time convicted felon in the White House. You have the guy, the brain behind January 6th in the White House, the guy that has immunity for official acts, who's walked all over every court and every rule of law in the land. But let's go back and let's pick at this man's cancer and who knew he had it when. This world is so shitty at times. And I'm not trying to bring down the room. I'm not trying to make this like the doom and gloom episode. I'm really not. But people and their reactions to things and the hills they choose to die on is absolutely ridiculous to me. It's so disappointing that people can't stop and pause and say, hey, a deadly storm hit Kentucky. Let's go help those people. Or a former president has cancer. Let's not sit here and spread a bunch of conspiracy theories about that. Let's not sit here and demonize this man any further. I don't understand why that people just have to be the way that they are. But I really believe that they just have nothing better to do with their lives than to take some stance like that and then, shout it out to the world. And it's just disappointing. It really is. Again, I think that President Biden was a good president. Did I agree with him on every single thing? No. There's a lot of opinions and thoughts that I have about Joe Biden and the way that everything went, and when I'm sitting around talking with my friends and discussing things, it's like we have a lot of different takes on the what ifs, but we can't, you can sit and go, what if this had happened? What if that had happened? Or you could just deal with what's going on right now. And what's going on right now is we've got people up in Kentucky who really need your help. And we have people, we have people running our government that's trying to destroy it, and we need to be standing up against that at all costs. And so I want to thank y'all for tuning in today. I didn't mean to bring down the room, but I don't know. I expect the other side to be the cold-hearted assholes. I don't really expect it from our side, and so it's disappointing. And I did have one person, I won't say their name, but I did have one person who reached out to me and apologized for making a comment like that. Explained that they were upset at the moment, and said what they said before they thought it through, and thanked me for saying what I said about it. And to them, I said, we all have our moments. We all do. I know that I've said some pretty low. I've took low blows at Trump, but again, I look at him through a different lens. I look at him as the greatest threat to American democracy, so I really don't take it too soft on that guy. But I really do appreciate everyone for tuning in, and thank you so much to Brian for sharing all these links. I'll bring this one up here just for a second so you can see. If you see these links, here is places: London, Laurel County. That's where I went yesterday. And the thing about London that's sad is they were already under construction. There's a whole lot of road construction in London, and it's a pretty busy city. And so, I've went there. There's a Chinese buffet there, the Great Wall. It's some of the best food in the world, and I'll go there just to eat it. I'll make that hour and a half drive just to go there. And so there's a lot of road construction there anyway. The town's under construction. And now that all these storms have hit, they're having to reroute people, and it is just one big giant mess. And so our hearts go out to them, and we're going to be here sharing links, whether people like it or not. We're going to be sharing links as to where you can help people. There's one of them there. And like I said before, you can go to the, I'll bring it up one more time. You can go here to the team. Kentucky, Governor Andy Beshear has started the team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund. You can go there and you can help people out as well. Want to remind people, thanks, by the way, for all the ones that will be listening to this episode later on Spotify. Yes, we are putting the audio versions up on Spotify, so you can listen to them there. So I got some pretty exciting news, and I'll close with this. We're in the process now of mixing down the album that I've been working on, which is called FABB, F-A-B-B. And FABB stands for Fuck a Bunch of Billionaires. But I figured the platforms would have a problem with that title, so we abbreviated it. And we've got the final mixes in my Google Drive. I'm going to be listening to them here in just a little bit. Shout out to Odell at Brimstone Recording. He has done a damn good job, and he's a good friend, and he's helped us out so much. He's mixed those down. They're sounding great. And so, if I listen to them today and I feel good about it, then I'm going to drop that thing on Friday. We'll drop it on Bandcamp, and we'll put it out there for people to hear. And that's really, I played music for over 25 years, and used to back in the day, we would plan albums out, months in advance to put them out. We would have CD release parties and all that stuff, and that was fun when I did it. I don't regret none of that. But now with this type of music, with the stuff we're talking about, it's so topical, it's so current. We can't wait till August and put it out. And I was looking up Bandcamp, and they're not doing the Bandcamp Friday once a month now. They're just doing them every so often. So the next one ain't till August. And I was like, well, I can't wait around till August to put this thing out, because I will have written another album by then. I already put one out on January 20th. And like I said, if this one sounds good, we're going to drop it on, and it is, by the way, then we'll just go ahead and drop it over on the Bandcamp app. And yes, just like that one time at Bandcamp, we'll drop it over there. But before we go, I've got to show y'all this, because this is so badass. So our good friend Lori, from the band Lynette Skinner and Armadilicious Music, has made this badass album cover, and it's perfect for the times. Folks, check this out. This will be the cover of the new album, and this is absolutely awesome. Huge shout out to Lori for this. This is awesome. And correct me if I'm wrong, Lori, but I do believe that she made this before Trump got all confused about that being on Garcia's knuckles. It's perfect for the times. This is the perfect cover. And fuck a bunch of billionaires. And Brian has shared the link right here. You can go over, if I can get it back. Where'd it go? Here we go. My internet's kind of acting wonky too, Brian. But anyway, so that is Lori's website, and you can go check it out. Armadilicious.com. You can check out our artwork there. But this album is going to drop on Friday, as long as we get it mastered by then, and we should be able to, because we're on a roll with it. Odell's in the final moments, and so as soon as I say to him, yeah, Odell, just run that through mastering, then we'll drop it on Friday. And so again, thank you so much, Lori. You knocked it out of the park. We're also going to have an extended version of the album that will only be available on Patreon. When we recorded this album, we did a lot of outtakes and extended versions and stuff like that, and alternate takes of stuff. So we'll be working on that. That'll come out a little later in the year. And if you're on Patreon, you'll be able to have access to that. So you'll have an extended cut. And I forgot about this, but we'll close with this. I'll be going live here in about 15 minutes over on Patreon for what we call Backstage with Brando. And I just sit around and shoot the breeze with the patrons. So I really appreciate everyone for being here. And I just want to really close by saying this. I appreciate everyone out there who has supported me along the way in doing what I do. This isn't the road that I ever intended to take in life. All I ever was intending to do was just play my music, write my songs, and do my thing. And that's what I've been doing for years. But there come a point in my life where it was like I could not stay quiet anymore. I couldn't sit there on a bar stool playing music to people that was talking so loud I couldn't hear myself sometimes. I just couldn't sit there and do that anymore. I had to talk about the issues at hand because I was always talking politics, always ranting politics. My ex-wife, the minute that everything blew up, said, "Why wouldn't you doing this years ago? I had to listen to you rant about this in the kitchen. So why didn't you go ahead and do it then?" I just believe that now's the time more than ever to stand up and speak out. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I'm going to be doing as long as I'm alive. And so I appreciate everyone for coming along with this journey with me. But I would just say to anybody out there, just be good to people. I'm not a religious person. I like Buddhism probably better than anything, but I'm not a religious person, but I just believe in doing good and treating people good. And, just when you see your neighbors in need, help out and forget about the politics for a minute. I tell people all the time on here, if it gets too heavy for you, tune out, tune out and take a break. And when you come back, you don't have to back up and watch every video I've put out. Don't do that to yourself. Just catch back up and jump back in the conversation, and we'll be here and we'll keep sticking together. But, understand that across this country, no matter whether the state's red or blue, we're all Americans at the end of the day. I think we've lost sight of that because the politics have just got so polarized. Everybody's so at each other's throat that everybody wants to have that clickbait moment where they one up somebody else. And that's why I didn't have the cameras rolling yesterday when I went to help in London. It's like, that's not what I'm here for. I don't want to be here politicizing a moment or finding a way to politicize somebody's pain. There's people right now suffering in this world. There's people that have lost their homes, and there's people that are battling illnesses, and there's people that don't have it as good as you. So the next time you get cut off in traffic and you start screaming and yelling at that person, I'm gonna confess something once. I'll give you an example. We all do it. We all get mad. We all get pissed. We all cuss a blue streak. I've done it. I am not sitting here saying I'm no angel. I'm like Greg Allman. I am no angel. Okay. But one time I was in traffic. I never will forget this. And this person just pulled straight out in front of me, and I screamed, "God, you stupid!" I cussed a blue streak, and as I'm passing the person, I looked around like this. That woman was like a dead-on ringer from my late grandmother. And then I realized she was someone else's grandmother. And I just calmed down and thought, God, how ridiculous was that? So just be good to people, help people when you can, and try to have a little sympathy for people. That's it. And as my buddy Mike McGill would say, be good to people. It don't cost nothing. That's pretty much it. It doesn't. But it will cost you if you're stupid. Stupidity doesn't cost. So try. This is live. I am live. I am live and in color. Sometimes, every once in a blue moon, when certain scenarios arise, I should say, then I'm not. But for the most part, 99% of the time, we're here and we're live. So, folks, just continue to try to do what you can to take care of your mental health, take care of yourselves, and take care of your neighbors in a time of need. And let's all just try to be good people. So until next time, I'm Tennessee Brando. I really appreciate you all joining in, and be sure to check me out over on Patreon if you're there. I'll be there in about 10 minutes. Backstage with Brando. We'll shoot the breeze for about 15 minutes, and then I've got to get ready for 2 young boys' birthdays that are coming up. Man, I'm going to have fun. So on that note, you all have a good one, and I'll see you next time.